Section 1. The school day with student cleaning. Have you ever seen a school where students clean their own classrooms? In Japan, school janitors certainly exist to handle major maintenance and heavy repairs. However, when it comes to the daily mess, the responsibility falls completely on the children. Imagine a place where the entire student body scrubs their own toilets every single afternoon. In most Western countries, this idea sounds completely impossible, or perhaps even highly unfair. At exactly 300 p.m., the final bell rings across the building. Instead of running outside to play, students grab brooms, dustpans, and wet rags. They move their desks, scrub the long hallways, and wipe down the mirrors. No one complains and no one tries to hide from the work. It is a seamless, synchronized effort that happens in every single school, every single day. This practice is not a clever way to save money on staff. It is a carefully designed lesson in deep humility and real practical responsibility. When you scrub a floor on your hands and knees, something shifts inside your mind. You quickly realize that a public space is not someone else's problem. If you drop a piece of paper in the morning, you will be the one picking it up in the afternoon. This simple logic changes how young people treat their entire world. It builds a society where citizens naturally protect the shared streets they walk on. Think about your own school days for just a moment. How would your life be different today if you had cleaned your own school toilets as a child? Would our public spaces look different if we all shared this early experience? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Section 2. The modern conflict. The fragile chaos of boundless classrooms. To understand why these rules exist, we must look at a growing crisis in the West. For decades, Western education has celebrated absolute individual expression. Above all else, we encourage children to stand out, challenge authority, and question every single boundary. We believe that complete freedom is the only way to build a creative mind. But this beautiful theory has led to a very dark reality in many modern schools. Today, teachers are burning out at an alarming rate. Classrooms have become chaotic spaces, where mutual respect is almost entirely gone. When there are no shared rules, the loudest individuals dominate the room. Students find themselves trapped in a constant, exhausting competition for social attention. Without a clear structure, children do not feel free. Instead, they feel deeply anxious, insecure, and disconnected from their peers. This is the hidden cost of a society that forgets the value of common boundaries. When we destroy all limits in the name of freedom, we also destroy the shared peace. We are left with a system where individual rights override the comfort of the group. It raises a serious question about how we raise the next generation. Are we truly helping children by giving them a world without any structural expectations? Section 3. The visual standard. The hidden pragmatism of hair and uniform codes. When foreigners look at Japanese schools, the strict dress codes often cause the most shock. Most schools enforce specific uniform. Guidelines and regulations about natural hair are incredibly common. Students are generally expected to keep their hair neat, tidy, and completely free from artificial coloring. To a Western observer, this looks like military control. It seems like a cruel machine designed to crush individual personality. However, there is a very deep practical reason behind this visual standard. The real goal of the school uniform is not to destroy identity. Rather, it is a deliberate shield, designed to eliminate economic jealousy from the classroom. When every child wears the exact same clothing, wealthy students cannot flash expensive brands. Less fortunate children do not have to feel ashamed of their worn-out clothes. The uniform creates a baseline of social equality that protects every single child from judgment. By forcing a strict limit on the outer self, the system shifts focus to the inner self. If you cannot use hair color or fast fashion to stand out, you must use your character. You must rely on your actions, your kindness, and your unique talents to make friends. This visual discipline is not about crushing your spirit. It is an invitation to discover a deeper kind of individuality that does not depend on a price tag. Section 4. The philosophy of forms. Kata as a container for growing souls. At the root of these regulations lies a traditional Japanese concept known as kata. This word translates roughly to form or structure. In Western culture, we often believe that internal feelings must always direct our external movements. Japan, however, flips this logic completely on its head. The philosophy of Kata teaches that by adopting a disciplined physical form, you can naturally cultivate a balanced, peaceful mind. We see this clearly in the daily rituals of the classroom. Before a lesson begins, every student stands up, straightens their posture, and bows deeply to the teacher. This synchronized physical movement acts as a powerful psychological transition. It takes a room full of chaotic teenage energy and instantly grounds it in a space of mutual respect. The physical form shapes the mental state. It is a structure designed to stabilize the volatile nature of youth. During adolescence, young minds are constantly flooded with intense, unpredictable impulses. Without a strong container, this emotional noise can easily lead to self-destruction. The strict rules of a Japanese school act as a temporary protective container. They provide a predictable, stable reality when a teenager's internal world feels completely chaotic. By surrendering to the form, the developing soul finds a unique kind of safety. Section 4. The philosophy of forms, Kata, as a container for growing souls. At the root of these meticulous regulations lies a traditional Japanese concept known as kata. This word translates roughly to form or structure. In Western culture, we often believe that internal feelings must always direct our external movements. Japan, however, flips this logic completely on its head. The philosophy of kata teaches that by adopting a disciplined physical form, you can naturally cultivate a balanced, peaceful mind. This focus on form is not a modern invention of the school board. Its roots reach back hundreds of years, deep into the traditional culture of Japan. We see it in the strict choreography of the tea ceremony and the precise movements of martial arts. For centuries, Japanese masters have taught that true wisdom is found through the endless repetition of physical form. In the past, a student would spend years simply copying a master's physical posture and breathing. They believed that perfectly mimicking the external form would eventually unlock the exact same internal state of mind. This ancient wisdom naturally survived the rapid modernization of the country. When Japan built its public school system, it naturally embedded the logic of kata into the daily classroom. Before a lesson begins, every student stands up, straightens their posture, and bows deeply to the teacher. This synchronized physical movement acts as a powerful psychological transition. It takes a room full of chaotic teenage energy and instantly grounds it in mutual respect. During adolescence, young minds are constantly flooded with intense, unpredictable impulses. Without a strong container, this emotional noise can easily lead to self-destruction. The strict rules act as a temporary protective shield. They provide a predictable, stable reality when a teenager's internal world feels completely chaotic. By surrendering to the form, the developing soul finds a unique kind of safety. Section 5. Daily Rituals 1. The sanctuary of Uwabaki and the logic of Itadakimasu. The philosophy of form shapes every minor detail of the school day. We see this the very second a student crosses the threshold of the school. At the entrance, every single person must stop at the shoe lockers. They take off their outdoor shoes and slip into indoor footwear called uwabaki. These are simple, soft canvas shoes, usually entirely white. This habit mirrors the broader Japanese tradition of removing outdoor shoes. Before entering a home, this simple swap serves as a powerful mental boundary for the young mind. By leaving the dirt of the streets at the door, students protect the sanctuary of learning. It signals a complete transition from the chaotic outside world into a space of focus and respect. The outside world is full of unpredictable noise, but the inside of the school is clean, safe, and controlled. We see this same collective focus again during the lunch hour. In many countries, lunchtime is a chaotic rush to a noisy cafeteria. In a Japanese school, lunch is a highly structured communal ritual. The students themselves serve the food to their own classmates, wearing pristine white aprons and masks. Every single child takes a turn acting as a server for their community. No one sits down to eat until every single desk is filled. Before the very first bite, the entire room claps their hands and says one word together, Itadakimasu. Many people overseas already know this famous phrase, but it means much more than just bon appetit. It is a profound expression of gratitude toward nature, the farmers and the animals that gave their lives for the meal. This ritual teaches young minds that society only functions when everyone accepts their turn to serve others. Section 6. Daily Rituals 2. The digital quarantine of silent lockers. This deep mindfulness prepares the young mind for the next major boundary of the day, the digital quarantine. The moment students arrive in the morning, Their smartphones are completely locked away. For the entire school day, these digital devices remain completely silent in personal lockers. Even during the short breaks, running to check social media or playing mobile games is strictly forbidden. Instead of staring at glowing screens, students are forced to look at each other. They must look into each other's eyes, read facial expressions, and navigate real human friction. In our modern world, we are constantly drowning in a flood of digital noise. We check our notifications every few minutes, losing our ability to focus or stay present. By creating a physical space without smartphones, the school forces a temporary collective peace. It teaches teenagers that silence is not empty, and that real connection requires undivided attention. It makes us look at our own modern habits with a strange sense of envy. Think about your own daily screen time for just a moment. Could you survive an entire workday with your phone completely locked away in a locker? Do you think our modern relationships would improve if we all practiced this forced digital silence? Tell us your true thoughts in the comments below. Section 7. The counter-argument. Are we just manufacturing obedient robots? Now, many Western critics will look at all these examples and draw a dark conclusion. They argue that this intense focus on structure is deeply dangerous. To them, a school system with uniforms, daily bowing, and forced cleaning looks like a factory. It seems designed to crush individual creativity and manufacture perfectly. Obedient corporate robots. They worry that by forcing children into a strict mold, you destroy their unique spirit. This is a highly valid concern that we must address directly. If a system only demands blind obedience, it does indeed become a tool of oppression. If children are never allowed to question anything, their minds will eventually become completely rigid. We must honestly ask ourselves where the fine line between helpful discipline and cruel conformity truly lies. No one wants to live in a cold, gray society, where everyone thinks exactly the same way. The fear of losing our unique personality is a deeply human reaction. However, this critical view completely misses the deeper psychology of the Japanese approach. It looks only at the strict surface and ignores the internal strength that grows underneath. Restraint is not always a form of violence against the soul. In fact, true freedom cannot exist without a solid foundation of self-control. Before you can break the rules beautifully, you must first master the structure. Section 8. The conclusion mastery over rules and the path to true freedom. In traditional Japanese culture, there is a famous concept for mastering any art form. It is called shuhari. This word is broken down into 3 simple stages. First, you completely obey the rules. Second, you break the rules to find your own style. And finally, you transcend the rules entirely. The school system operates on this exact same multi-layered logic. The intense daily discipline is not the ultimate destination. It is simply the critical first step. When you possess a deeply organized internal compass, you no longer need external chaos to prove your identity. You do not need to act loud, dress provocatively, or disrespect others just to feel different. True freedom is not the childish ability to do whatever you want whenever you want. Rather, it is the mature power to remain completely calm, steady, and purposeful in a deeply unstable world. The rules do not trap your personality. They give it a solid, unshakable foundation. As we look at the growing anxiety and emotional burnout in Western classrooms, we must be honest. Our current obsession with boundless freedom is clearly fracturing the mental peace of the next generation. Perhaps it is time to look east and reconsider the profound power of structure. True freedom cannot be given to a child through a lack of boundaries. It must be built from the inside out, one clean floor and one respectful bow at a time. Section 9. The crucial blueprint, individual sovereignty versus the architecture of the crowd. When we step back and look at the entire picture, we find a fundamental split in the very purpose of education. The modern Western system operates on a blueprint of individual sovereignty. From the very first day of kindergarten, a Western child is trained to stand out, vocalize their desires, and aggressively claim their personal rights. The ultimate goal is to produce an independent pioneer who can conquer the market. Success is measured by how effectively you can separate yourself from the crowd and command attention. Japan, however, operates on a completely different psychological architecture. The system does not treat the crowd as an enemy of personality. Instead, it trains a child to sustain the collective space and protect the peace of those around them. Success is not measured by your ability to dominate a room with your voice. It is measured by your quiet capacity to read the air, anticipate the needs of the group, and maintain social harmony. This is the sharpest contrast between the two worlds. The West teaches a child how to survive against the community, while Japan teaches a child how to survive with the community. It is a choice between a society of isolated individuals fighting for attention or a society of connected citizens protecting a shared sanctuary. This crucial blueprint determines the exact texture of daily life. Long after graduation. Section 10. Conclusion. The elegance of the beautiful transition. This profound philosophy reaches its ultimate peak during a Japanese graduation ceremony. The atmosphere is thick with a heavy, solemn silence. There are no chaotic cheers, no tossed caps, and no frantic shouting. When a student's name is called, they walk up to the stage with absolute precision. They bow deeply to the principal at a perfect angle and receive their graduation diploma with both hands. Every single movement is a beautiful piece of physical choreography. To an outsider, this absolute discipline might look cold, but in reality, it is a magnificent transition into adulthood. By perfectly executing this final kata, the young student demonstrates a sublime mastery over themselves. They are showing the world that they no longer need childish tantrums or outward rebellion to feel strong. They have discovered the quiet dignity of self-restraint. They are ready to step into a chaotic world with a completely steady heart. This beautiful transition leaves us with a lingering question that we can no longer ignore. Is our modern, lawless freedom truly making us happy? Or do we secretly crave the stable architecture of a beautiful form? True maturity is not about breaking every limit until there is nothing left. It is about possessing the grace to step into the mold, master the self, and find a deeper kind of freedom within the structure.